The House of Many Worlds. At the edge of a quiet, old forest stood a strange house. From the outside, it looked like any other house, small, 2 stories, with ivy climbing up the walls and a red door that was faded from the weather. People had left it alone for so long that many thought it was haunted or magical. Very few people even knew it was there, hidden behind the thick trees and the winding paths of the forest. One chilly autumn day, a curious boy named Sam discovered it. Sam loved exploring the woods around his home, always looking for hidden places. He'd heard stories from his grandmother about a place called the House of Many Worlds, a magical house that could take you anywhere. Sam thought these were just bedtime stories, until he saw the house himself. As he stood in front of the house, he felt a strange feeling, like the house was calling to him. He pushed open the red door, which creaked loudly as if it hadn't been opened in years, and stepped inside. Dust floated in the air, and the wooden floor squeaked under his feet. The walls had old wallpaper peeling off, and the furniture was covered with sheets. But somehow, the house felt warm and welcoming, almost as if it had been waiting for him. The first room Sam entered was the living room. A dusty armchair and a small table sat by a big window with cloudy glass. Sam wiped the window with his sleeve, trying to see outside. But instead of seeing the forest, he gasped in surprise. Outside the window was a vast desert stretching as far as he could see. Golden sand dunes rolled across the land, and 3 suns hung in the sky, casting strange shadows. A warm breeze drifted through the window, and Sam could even feel a bit of sand on his shoes. "Whoa," Sam whispered, amazed at what he was seeing. He looked around and noticed a staircase at the end of the hall, leading to the 2nd floor. His curiosity grew, and he tiptoed up the stairs, each step creaking beneath him. At the top, he found a hallway with 4 doors, 2 on each side. He reached for the first door on his right, opened it slowly, and peeked inside. This room was empty except for a single window. Sam walked over to it, his heart racing with excitement. He looked through the glass and blinked in shock. Outside wasn't the forest or even the desert. This time, he saw an underwater world. Bright fish darted past, swimming through coral reefs and seaweed as bubbles floated up to the surface. A giant blue whale glided past the window, its massive eye blinking as it noticed Sam before it swam away. "How is this possible?" he whispered, feeling both excited and confused. He could even hear the soft sound of water moving outside the glass, as if the room itself was underwater. He pulled himself away and opened the door across the hall. This room was different. It had an old bed and a dresser, both covered in dust. The window here looked out into a snowy wonderland, with snowflakes drifting softly from a pale blue sky. Pine trees heavy with snow lined the ground, and he could see the outline of a frozen lake in the distance. The cold air seeped through the window, and Sam shivered, feeling as if he were standing outside in the snow rather than in a warm house. Then he heard something strange, a soft, distant melody, like bells chiming in the wind. Sam leaned closer to the window, listening closely. The sound seemed to come from beyond the frozen lake, but the view was blurry. Sam made a mental note to return to this room later and try to find out where the music was coming from. The next room, further down the hall, was the strangest one yet. This room had a door leading to what should have been the backyard. Sam walked over and opened it, curious to see if it would show him his familiar woods. But when he opened it, he found himself looking out into a futuristic city like none he had ever seen. Skyscrapers glowing with green lights stretched up into a lavender sky, and flying cars zoomed between the buildings. A silver bridge in the distance sparkled as it connected the two sides of the enormous city. People dressed in strange clothing walked along the streets, and some of them even had what looked like robots walking beside them. Sam quickly closed the door, overwhelmed by the thought that each room held a view into a completely different world. There was only one more door left to open, the last room at the end of the hall. As he entered, he saw it was larger than the others, with two tall windows. Each window showed a different world, as if they were competing for space. The left window looked into a dense jungle, where bright, colorful birds flew between trees and flowers bloomed everywhere. He could even see the top of an ancient stone temple peeking through the leaves, like something from a lost world. The right window looked into a sky filled with floating islands. The islands drifted slowly, connected by ropes and vines. Strange plants grew along the edges, and waterfalls flowed from them, vanishing into the clouds below. Flying creatures that looked like a mix between dragons and eagles soared from island to island. Sam sat down on the dusty floor, his mind spinning with possibilities. Each window and door in this house led to a different world. But why? And who had built such a place? Just then, he heard a soft whisper, like a voice calling his name. He looked around but saw no one. The whisper came again, this time clearer, saying, "Sam." He followed the sound down the stairs and back into the living room, where the red door was still open. There, standing just inside the doorway, was a tall figure cloaked in shadow. The figure's face was hidden, but Sam felt a warm, kind presence. Who are you?" Sam asked, both scared and curious. The figure didn't answer right away. Instead, they stretched out a hand and pointed to the room, as if showing it to him. "You found my house," the figure said in a calm, wise voice. "A place between worlds, where each window and door opens to a different realm." "But why?" Sam asked. "Why does it exist?" The figure chuckled softly. "Long ago, I traveled to many worlds, learning from each one. I wanted to create a place where anyone could see these worlds for themselves, so I built this house. But only those with open hearts and curious minds, like yours, can find it." Sam's eyes widened. "So, can I go to these worlds?" Can I step through one of the doors and explore them? The figure nodded. Yes, if you're brave enough. But remember, each world has its own rules and dangers. You must respect them, or you may never find your way back. Sam's heart raced with excitement. The idea of exploring worlds beyond his imagination was too tempting to resist. Which one should I start with? He asked, looking up the stairs toward the rooms filled with strange scenes. The figure thought for a moment, then pointed to the door to the snowy world he had seen earlier. Begin there, they said. The snow world is calm and gentle. You will meet creatures who can guide you. Sam didn't hesitate. He climbed the stairs, pulled on his jacket, and stepped into the room with the snowy landscape. With a deep breath, he opened the door and stepped through. The chill hit him right away, and he found himself standing in a forest covered in snow. Tall pine trees surrounded him, their branches heavy with ice. As he took his first steps into the snow, he noticed a soft light ahead. Following the glow, he soon came upon a group of small, fox-like creatures with thick white fur. They had bright eyes, and each wore a tiny necklace that glowed softly. "Hello," Sam said, smiling as he approached. "I'm Sam. I'm not from here." One of the foxes stepped forward and nodded. "Welcome, traveler. We are the ice foxes, guardians of the snow world. It's been many years since someone from the House of Many Worlds visited us." The ice foxes led him through their world, showing him hidden ice caves where crystals glowed in the dark and warm springs where strange blue flowers bloomed. They shared stories about the northern lights, which they believed were the spirits of their ancestors watching over them. As the day went on, Sam learned the ice foxes had a tradition of storytelling around a small fire each evening, and they invited him to join. Wrapped in a soft, warm cloak that one of the ice foxes lent him, Sam listened to stories about ancient snow giants, creatures so big they could move mountains, and tales of the singing trees, which only appeared during the full moon and sang songs to guide lost travelers home. When it was time to leave, the ice foxes led him back to the door. "You are welcome here any time, Sam," they said, bowing their heads. Sam stepped back from the snowy world and closed the door. He felt a gentle hum under his feet, as though the house itself was alive. The walls seemed to glow faintly, and he realized with a start that the house was reacting to his journey, almost as if it was celebrating his safe return. Sam took a moment to run his hand along the wooden railing of the staircase, feeling the warmth of the house, as if it was saying, "Welcome back." He smiled, feeling like he was part of something special. As Sam explored the house further, he noticed how quiet it was, yet it felt like it was filled with silent stories. Every creak of the floor and every faint breeze through the halls seemed to whisper secrets of the worlds beyond each door. He imagined that the house had seen hundreds, maybe even thousands, of travelers just like him, people who had felt the same thrill and wonder as they stepped into new worlds. Sam felt a strange comfort in this thought, as if he was connected to all those people through the adventures they'd left behind. As Sam continued to explore the house, he noticed small carvings in the wood along the banisters and door frames. They seemed to tell a story, showing people moving between worlds and meeting strange creatures. Sam ran his fingers over the carvings, feeling a warmth from them. It was as if the house itself held memories, each line and swirl a whisper of those who had come before him. Sam felt connected to these unknown explorers, knowing he was now part of the house's long and mysterious history. As he made his way down the hall, he knew that each room held a new adventure, a different world waiting for him to explore. His mind wandered to the underwater world and the bustling city, wondering what kinds of creatures and mysteries he might find in those places. Back in the living room, the figure was gone, but Sam could still feel their presence, like a gentle reminder of the house's secrets. He smiled, feeling grateful for the magic he had discovered. From that day on, Sam visited the house every chance he got, exploring new worlds and meeting strange creatures. He learned the stories of each world, respected its rules, and became known as the traveler of many worlds. Each visit brought new friends, a mermaid in the underwater world who taught him to read currents, a wise owl in the jungle who shared secrets of an ancient temple, and even a robot friend in the futuristic city who showed him how the flying cars worked. And though the house remained hidden in the forest, those with open hearts and minds might one day find it, stepping through its doors to worlds beyond their dreams.